they would like you to do. So she's filming you. And they want you to give greetings to the Korean readers, if you can. And the next thing is, what is the most important points that the Korean people would get from your readings?
Korean people? What Korean people? You mean the general population?
The general population.
Oh.
What would be the most important readings that they would pick up from your books? You know, and then the third is come up. How did you come up with the map of consciousness? What inspired you to come up with the map of consciousness?
Oh my goodness.
Right, and then the fourth is. A few words about the consciousness level of the Korean people. They want you to come up with some kind of, and their spiritual future. So that was number 4. I'll remind you as we go through these. And would you please recommend a general public, simple spiritual practices that you could give them?
That'll give them peace of mind.
Yeah, that would give them peace of mind. I'll remind you as we go through. We can go through. They can cut me out. Just go. The first one is they would like you to do a greeting for the Korean readers.
For the Korean readers?
Readers. This is for the newspaper.
Oh, for the
and so
reader.
Yeah, so they would. If you look in this is a camera, David. This is a camera.
I see the camera. Yes.
All right, so they would like you to do greetings for the Korean readers at this time.
For the Korean readers, you mean of a newspaper or an article or what?
Yes, it's a newspaper, correct?
The readers of Dr. Hawkins' book in Korea.
Oh, the books?
Yeah.
The people who are reading your books.
Mm-hmm. Well, the Korean people themselves have been inspirational to me because when we visited Korea, many realizations came to my awareness, seemingly out of nowhere, that must have been lying dormant, waiting to be energized by the appropriate surroundings. And South Korea had an almost magical effect, and in fact, when we visited there, things that were deemed miraculous actually began to occur. So there seems to be some kind of a very specialness and uniqueness about South Korea, its people, its history, and its culture of greater significance to all of mankind. That their spiritual commitment sets the pace for the rest of mankind, which is still, to a large extent, embroiled in killing, war, bloodshed, and the killing of innocent people.
Okay, can you give us an important message? What they want is the most important message that a Korean reader would get from the books of Dr. Hawkins. What is the most important message?
Well, the books outline an understanding of the nature of consciousness itself that facilitates the evolution of one's own personal consciousness and the surrendering of personal selfishness to a higher good. So by surrendering personal selfishness, one becomes automatically more spiritually evolved. So that the downside of humanness is selfish egocentricity. We see this internationally in countries that are interested only in promoting their own personal welfare, their own individual welfare, at the cost of the peace and survival of other countries. Yes.
And
And then Dr. Hawkins look at
can
the
you look at the camera? Oh, he's looking at me. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry. Well, it's because it's up a little.
All right.
It's because it's up high. So I have to sit up higher. Yes, okay.
Okay. How did you first come up with the map of consciousness? What inspiration did you get to create the map of consciousness?
Oh, I discovered how to tell truth from falsehood. Then I began to notice that some things were more strongly positive or strongly negative than other things. And so it came into my mind spontaneously to see if one could calibrate this on a scale of strength or power or, fortitude, you might say. So it just emerged to my mind spontaneously how to create such a evolutionary scale from the most negative to the most positive. So it's more or less like a thermometer, Positive is above zero and negative is below zero.
Can you say a few words about the consciousness level of the Korean people and the prospect for the future spiritual progress?
I think South Korea is a reservoir of spiritual strength from which other countries and cultures can draw. It has an inner strength, and it has the capacity to recognize spiritual truth and integrity of consciousness. It has an innate capacity to recognize that. The very fact that we get invited to Koreans, or the Koreans come here to talk to us, shows that they are very alert to truth and the consequences of truth and falsehood and the evolution of consciousness. And other countries are not that far advanced. They're still struggling at a more primitive level for political power and military power and financial power. But we don't see any real struggle for integrity or truth, you see. Once in a while we see it in the conflict about the cause of earth warming. We see a conflict about what is the truth. And so far mankind has had no means of discerning truth from falsehood, so they can only go along with what is the most persuasive argument. And persuasive argument does not establish truth. It only establishes persuasive argument.
Next, would you please recommend to the general public some simple spiritual practices that will give them, that you will give them for peace of mind?
Peace of mind arises from how you view the world. And if you see the world with compassion, then you make allowance for the limitation of man's evolution. People are only the way they can be. If they could be better or smarter or whatever, they would be. So compassion is accepting that this is the limitation under which this person is operating at this particular time in this particular event. So compassion allows for the limitation of man's consciousness in general and as well as particular. So we might say that if some people are quite unfortunate. They're